Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
It's a Write That Down Wednesday.
Like writing things down.
2 weeks left in the Write That Down season here, boys. Super Bowl to Super Bowl that's the Write That Down league year. And then the league year resets the day after the Super Bowl.
Love when that happens.
It'd be great if we had a tampering period for Write That Down.
Or you could investigate. Well, Judd's like the resident beat writer here. I mean, he's been scooping on our text thread. You just confirmed. Can we break this news? Can we break the 7th round pick news?
Yeah, I was going to say, knock yourself out.
Former lead Vikings beat writer, Star Tribune, 1500 ESPN Twin Cities. Oh, go ahead. Scoop.
So we did a mock draft a couple of days ago, and in that draft, PFF had the Vikings with a 7th round pick, a mystery pick.
The 239. What is this 239?
Why do the Vikings have a 239 pick? Well, the confusion dates back to August of 2022 when the Vikings traded Jesse Davis, an O-lineman who had been in training camp, to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a conditional 7th round pick in 2025. At the time, we all laughed and said, whatever. Well, the conditions of that pick, because I don't think Jesse Davis played a down for the Steelers, were never met. So there are PFF and Tankathon as well, I believe, have the Vikings. Somebody else, I found this, have the Vikings with that pick. That pick did not convey. And in fact, I think Pittsburgh traded it again. So
wow,
it better not
the
have
NBA
conveyed.
here. You track like 6 different routes.
If you see a mysterious, like you're checking for change in the couch cushions, right? Like if you're checking for a 7th round pick in the couch cushions, you don't have one.
Yeah. See, folks, you don't just get takes on the show. You get inside investigative reporting about 7th round picks.
There's a meat and this is as meat and potatoes as one can get with Vikings news.
Yeah, you can get various forms of meat and or potatoes at Quick Trip too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? Let's go from talking about a meaningless 7th round pick to the 1st round pick when you're stopping on your way to work, on your way home for a quick snack. Heck, breakfast, lunch, dinner to fill up that gas tank, whatever you need. You know what? Your friends at Quick Trip, they have the answers. They have the playbook, and all of their plays, they are what we like to call 9 routes because they're all deep shots and they all connect. Quick Trip is your one-stop shopping. It is your place to stop, and it beats all of the other guys, and quite frankly, it's far more convenient than a grocery store. So make Quick Trip your first stop, and yeah, put that app on your phone like Declan did.
Little elite car wash I got to use today.
Oh, nice.
Little 50% off car wash, and I'm sure the line's going to be crazy. I'm going to try to sneak over there in the afternoon. Maybe it won't be as nuts to butts, but we'll see what it's like over there. But I got to get a car wash. My car is just covered in grossness.
Yeah, although it's going to be, it's kind of gross. Just like the next couple days, it's like above freezing and stuff. It's actually a good time to go handle some banking potentially. North American Banking Company. Get out, run those errands while it's not 20 below zero. So North American Banking Company opened their doors in 1998, delivering a better banking experience for the Twin Cities specifically. Locations in Maple Grove, Roseville, Shoreview, Hastings, Woodbury, and 50th in France. We're talking friendly, knowledgeable people. We're talking cutting-edge online tools, personal relationships, things that you don't necessarily get with some of the bigger national names that you are familiar with in banking. So if you're looking for a better, more personal banking experience, whether it's for checking savings and the basics, or whether you're buying a home, tackling a renovation, setting up a new business, North American Banking Company is here to help you. They'll make the transition easy as well. It could be a game-changing experience for you and your family. nabankco.com/Mackey to learn more. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Okay.
Write this down.
Here's how this works. Every single Wednesday, we admit where we are wrong. We celebrate where we are right. It's called Write That Down. We make predictions. 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. We also have the OG edition of Write That Down on Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd, one of our other podcasts. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns on Purple Daily. Write that down. And listeners, if you want to be like Patrick and become a guest listener predictor on an episode, send Declan a message through the Score North app. Let's start with Judd's accountability here. 3 things came off the board. One of them, a long-term one that came off the board here.
Remember that one. You
said Josh Allen will account for at least 4 touchdowns in the AFC Championship game. You said Catherine Raish would become, I guess, the first female general manager in the NFL within the next 3 years. You said that in January of 2022 with an end date of January 19th, 2025.
Missed opportunity.
But you did say Brian Flores would get at least one interview for a head coaching job, but that he would not get the job. He'd remain Vikings defensive coordinator for 2025. Unless he comes popping up for that Saints job or quits the coordinator job.
I think Dex's guy, Kellen Moore.
Yeah, because Mike McCarthy reportedly, according to NFL Network, is like just going to sit this one out and wait for the 2026 hiring cycle.
Yeah, I saw something between McCarthy and the Saints went awry. So I think he wisely said, you know what? I don't need that job. Oh, yeah, I don't want that job. So, yeah, he's going to, again, sit out and then wait for a job.
All right, I had 3 things come off the board here. I said Caitlin Clark would be back in the suite with Taylor Swift, 2 of the most famous women in all of America. Well, Caitlin Clark was like working on a new shoe deal or something. They're going to like create a new shoe brand named after her. She was busy making $1 billion. I said before Mike Zimmer's current Cowboys tenure ends, he will be the interim head coach of the Cowboys. Feels like a missed opportunity there for old Jerry. Who do you think would be a better coach for the next 3 years for the Cowboys, leading to more wins? Brian Schottenheimer or Mike Zimmer?
Oh, Zimmer's so salty now. Yeah, no, I'd go with Schottenheimer. I would just roll the dice with Schottenheimer.
I think Zimmer gets you more wins.
I saw a list that Zimmer was the second highest paid DC in the entire league to Fangio this season.
Good
$3 million? So
$3 million as a coordinator.
Shockingly, Jerry paid him a lot. So
to get boat raced every other week with that defense. I did say that during championship weekend, we would see at least 6 touchdowns from inside the 5-yard line in the 2 games. I think it was 9. I think we had 9 touchdowns inside the 5. This is a message to the Vikings that it is okay to run the ball into the end zone from inside the 5-yard line. It is legal.
I don't know about that. That's no fun, though. Like, it's got to be deep routes. Every one of them.
There's 9 routes from the 4-yard line. Everyone sprint to the back of the end zone. Okay, listeners, Riley says a rough week for the listeners. Riley said the Bills would beat the Chiefs and win the Super Bowl by at least 2 scores. Bobby said the AFC and NFC teams in the Super Bowl would both be 2 seeds in their respective conferences. Close. If the Bills would have beat the Chiefs, then this would have come true. Mm-hmm. And then Matt said Kirk Cousins will be comeback player of the year in 2024. I guess I haven't seen the finalists, but like...
they announced him, right, Judd?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Kirk's not a finalist, right? I mean, he got benched.
No, I
guys heard.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And then Declan said the Bills would beat the Chiefs and would not be trailing at any point in the 4th quarter.
Thanks, NFL spotters. Thanks, down judges, from preventing me from cruising my way into a potential victory here.
Thanks, Dalton Kincaid's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen misidentifying which way the line should slide and protect on that 4th and 5.
How about that? Brouhaha.
Yeah, consulting with Alex Boone and Jeremiah Searles.
Yep.
Adamant when you look at that play that it was a miss. I mean, it's ultimately on the center, but Josh Allen moved the protection he's effed it up pre-snap.
Okay.
Josh Allen.
Because I think I saw a Twitter clip. It was Robert Griffin III went on Kay Adams' show and talked about the sliding of the protection.
What did he say?
Know who? And And you know who came back on Twitter adamant that Griffin was wrong, or at least being like pie in the sky? Kellen Mond on Twitter.
Oh, dude, Kellen Mond is very opinionated on Twitter.
Huge explanation of why, yeah, ideally.
What was Griffin saying? What was RG3 trying to say? Like, whose fault was it?
He said ultimately we should be talking about the fact that Josh Allen didn't do what Boone and Searle said.
Yeah. Well, and if Kellen Mond has a strong opinion, I mean, he might just want to sit all of these out, right? I mean, I know that he was like a fringe NFL quarterback.
I was just surprised. It was like a huge tweet about, well, he could have done it, but it's very difficult and blah blah. It's
not difficult. And I get that I'm saying this having played my last snap of football in 8th grade.
You used to shift the line at Buffalo grade school like all the time.
I did as a backup tight end. Yeah.
Omaha.
But according to NFL offensive linemen that deal in this every play, there were 4 receivers lined up left and only 3 Chiefs defensive backs covering those 4 receivers, with either a linebacker or a safety showing blitz up in the B gap, maybe the A gap. I'd have to go look at the wide again. But there was no way on a 4th and 5 the Chiefs were going to let that ball be snapped and have 3 guys covering 4 receivers on the left. So somebody was going to bail out into coverage from the right. But there was 1 receiver on the right with an abundance of players showing blitz. I think maybe what the dissenting opinion is that Spagnuolo was still blitzing out of similar looks the entire game, kind of backwards from how you would diagnose it. And maybe that reverse psychology psyched out Josh Allen in the biggest moment of his career. But either way, Spags, man.
The reality of Spags is damn good.
Yep. So, all right. With that, Declan leads the completion percentage battle, 39.2%. I'm at 34.1. Judd, 31.7. Listeners, 28.9. There's really no drama here in the touchdown race. Listeners, 21 touchdowns. Wow. Declan, 12. Judd and I each with 11 touchdowns. So it looks like Declan has a strong hold on the completion percentage lead. Listeners, mathematically, it's going to be almost impossible to catch them with 21 touchdowns.
You would need to have, yeah.
But there's still stuff on the board that could come off, but it's still going to be tough. Career stats, Declan third, just under 37% completions. Judd 34.5, me 33.5. Listeners 24%. Listeners lead with 60 career touchdowns. So there's your accountability session. Let's get guest listener predictor Patrick in from Dunedin, Florida, the former spring training vacation home of the Sports Dad.
I love Dunedin. Blue Jays baseball, some great little bars. Great dive bars, too.
How many statues outside dive bars of the Sports Dad are there in Dunedin, Patrick?
There's 0. There should be some, though. I can look into helping get that accomplished.
What's the bar that has a swing, like a swing set or a swing outside of it? If it's still there, it's on the corner of Main Street, basically.
Are you thinking like the little dog bar?
Yeah, the dog bar. Yeah.
Oh, that one is called Skips.
Oh, Skips is great, you guys. Skips.
Or was Judges drunk stumbling into children's parks?
Here's the best thing about Skips.
They're like monkey bars and
let me tell you the best thing about Skips. At least the last time the Sports Dad was there, jukebox filled with great choices.
Yeah,
like the Rolling Stones, like the Beatles. Like
Gin Blossoms.
It was 40 replacement songs.
Hey, you know what?
Crazy.
The Gin Blossoms. Do not slander the Gin Blossoms.
The Gin Blossoms.
I've been on a big Gin Blossoms kick.
Okay, Ross Brendel.
Of late.
All right.
I like the Gin Blossoms.
Okay.
Oh, little hey jealousy.
Yeah, hey jealousy.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Anyway, great
follow
town.
you down.
Love it. I am fully endorse.
Anywhere
Dunedin.
you go, we'll follow you down. So, Patrick, you're rocking the Purple Daily holiday swag. We appreciate that. What's your background as a Vikings fan, man?
So I was born in Wisconsin, but my parents are from Minnesota, so I've been a Vikings fan my whole life. Actually went to the University of Minnesota, same time as you. 2003 I started. But yeah, I've been a Vikings fan since probably 98 is my first real season. I remember. Remember shedding some tears for some losses there because I was 13 and I couldn't quite handle that yet. But yeah, since that age.
By the way, so Row the Boat Ski-U-Mah. I think it was like NFL on Fox or CBS put a graphic out on social media because the Chiefs are going for the first three-peat in Super Bowl era. The last three-peat in the NFL was the Packers, like in NFL championship before the Super Bowl, and then 2 Super Bowls. But they put the last three-peat of every level of football, like FCS was NDSU, NFL was the Packers back in the 60s, and then the last three-peat in the FBS division of college football was the Golden Gophers.
Yep.
Like 100 years ago. And the next one.
Unbelievable.
The Boat Ski-U-Mah.
So when you were at the U, were you like Phil at the Metrodome chanting Fire Mason during games?
Yes.
You guys are so ungrateful.
Yeah,
I was so happy until that Michigan game. I think we were up by 28 points in the fourth quarter, right? And they had the riot police everywhere with all the cops and everything. And I thought we had it, and then I got kind of bitter after that.
Yeah, dude. Like I don't know. Were you sitting in the student section behind? Yeah, we were probably sitting in the same section, literally plotting. Like, okay, so they got some security down there, but I think if enough of us run out, we can probably still storm the field. And while everyone's having that half-drunken discussion, Michigan's just rattling off touchdown after touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Oh, it was such a shame.
It was a slow walk up the Metrodome steps.
31
Very sad.
points in the fourth quarter.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Watching
man.
it at a bar,
Yeah.
and it's like for the first time, you're like, "Oh my God, this is really going to happen!" Like, yeah, should have known better.
Oh.
And I was 33, so I really should have known better at the time.
Yeah, Patrick and I have an excuse. We were
Yeah,
just
you were young and dumb
idiot
and-
freshmen in college.
Yeah, I
What
was
do we
old
know?
enough to know.
So we'll start with Patrick and then over to Judd, Dax, back to me. 3 trips around the room. Patrick, you are under center. Fire away.
Write this down.
All right. Well, so I'm in IT, so I have an IT kind of football related prediction. And this should help with Dex's pain point about the spot that just got wrong. That was incorrectly spotted. My prediction is by the end of the NFL season this next year, that the NFL will announce that they are going to incorporate AI-assisted replay reviews, whether it's for spots or bad calls or missed face mask by the Rams in the end zone that could help us. I think that they'll start incorporating it. I think it's just going to vastly improve kind of the consistency of the play calls and kind of get rid of that excuse that we always, or not excuse, but that talking point that we always have, right? Is, they missed the call. They didn't,
AI Sean Hockey, or they should go back and they should have like AI refs that are represented by the legendary refs from the past. Like Ed Hockley can come back as, you can even like put him on the screen with his little biceps and stuff.
I don't think my dad would like that. He always said Ed Hockley had a thing against the Vikings.
Yeah. All right, Judd, over to you for your first prediction.
So since it's basically done now, congratulations, Declan, listeners.
Oh, you're just going to punt now.
I'm looking towards the future now. I am starting, and I am going back to the Judd that we all know, the sports dad we all know and love, by really looking down the road. This whole Tom Brady thing, on one level or another or both, ain't going to work. So write this down. Tom Brady won't be with Fox and or the Raiders by March 1st, 2026.
Okay, so off the record, where do you think he'll lean?
Well, the thing is, so he's got it looks like a Jeter-esque type of stake in the Raiders. Like Jeets bought into the Marlins and we're all like, Jeter owns a team now. And then he spent a year with them and he's like, you people are idiots. I'm out. And Mark Davis, I just don't see it working. Like Brady's going to want to have a say, and Mark Davis seems to be an obstinate, just weird dude. So I actually think there's a better
obstinate.
He does. Well, he just seems to be like, he does not seem to be like a guy that is going to work. So I actually could see Tom trying to stay with Fox.
Obstinate. Stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action despite attempts to persuade one to do so.
Yeah.
Used in a sentence, her obstinate determination to pursue a career in radio.
Nice.
Is that really in there? I thought you made that up.
It's like the AI, the first thing that pops up on Google.
Wow.
Obstinate. All right.
I mean, anyone with, and look, I'm not saying I got good hair, but anyone with a haircut that bad, probably it's time for him to go, but he's not going to go.
You know that you have way too many yes men and yes people around you if nobody in your circle pulls you aside and says, hey,
we got
let me introduce you to like a new hairstylist. Mm-hmm. All right.
Let's get those bangs. Let's just get those. You look like you're 5. Let's get those bangs. Like, let's do something. A little gel.
All right, it's prop bet season for the Super Bowl. It's the prop bet season for Super Bowl. I got more. I got a lot more here between now and next week.
I'm going to say.
We'll start with this one. Write this down. The Gatorade bath of the winning team. So the last 2 years.
Here we go.
It's been purple. 2 years in a row, it's been purple. However, this year, the Gatorade bath will be yellow or green. And yellow or green, by the way, are that's one option. Like that, I'm not trying to like split hairs.
It's like in the odds they have yellow or green.
Yellow and green are one color. So yellow or green for the winning team's Gatorade bath at the Super Bowl. Write it down.
Okay. Because it's like a Gatorade is like it's like a lime, like the core color of like the original Gatorade color, right?
So I got a dumb question. Yellow? If the Chiefs win, wouldn't they just go with red?
They could, but they won last year and it was purple.
That is odd.
So purple's been 2 years in a row.
They're trolling us.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down. You like writing.
They're trolling us.
Okay, write this down. The Vikings will draft a running back in the first or second round of the 2025 draft. I know they don't have a second round pick right now. I was
going to say, so you have them getting a second round pick.
But there's a couple ways they could go about this. They could just stick and pick a running back. They could trade back in the first. They could pick up a second. They could trade back into the second, pick up a bunch of capital. But this is, dude, Thor, our guy Thor, and we'll talk to him. He's at the Senior Bowl. Thor is going to do his Senior Bowl thing, and we're going to do a Saturday, Thursday episode, kind of recapping the whole week. But he is advocating for teams that need a running back to pick 2 running backs day 2, day 3. That there are that many great running backs, and you're going to get like a round's worth of value on guys falling because there's just so many of them out there. It's good news for teams like the Vikings.
Love that.
Write this down.
Okay, Patrick, back to you.
All right, write this one down. And this is for my wife, who's also actually a big listener. Next season, the Vikings will beat the Lions 3 times.
Wow. Dude. Wow, dude.
Oh, you're coming out. Love it.
That's a great prediction. Now, preseason, they would never play in the preseason, right? You don't play your division teams.
And I'm going to exclude preseason.
Yeah,
I don't know that schedule, but if they do play it, I'm talking about postseason and regular season.
Love it.
Love that swing. It's a great swing.
Write that down.
All right, back to Judd.
All right. The Vikings will sign Byron Murphy Jr. to a contract of 3 or more seasons.
Okay.
So he'll stay here, and it will be 3 or more seasons.
All right. Dex.
Write that down. All right, write this down. National anthem. We're going over. So right now, the allotted time is 1:20.5. So over 121 or under 120.
Who's singing? Who's singing it? Do we know?
It's a random person.
What?
Someone I have not really heard of before. It's hold on here. John Bast. Is it Basti?
John Baptiste?
Baptiste? John Baptiste.
John Baptiste. Yeah.
I don't really
he's
know
not
who
he's
that
not
is.
A random. He's definitely.
I mean, he's definitely someone. I'm not saying it's completely like they pulled someone off the street and did a
complete
competition.
disrespect.
I don't know who that is.
For John Baptiste right there.
I just don't know who that is.
Complete disrespect for one of the great artists of our time.
So
he went to Juilliard school, man. I don't know.
Who didn't?
So you're going over. You're going
over the 120 point, so 121 seconds or more.
Okay. Let's go with this one. Write this down. The 2022 draft class is going to continue to see its exodus. Write this down. The Vikings will cut both Ed Ingram and Ty Chandler. I'll say before week one. Yeah. Off the record, I think it happens before free agency. Now, Ed Ingram, you can save $3.5 million. You're only eating like $300,000. So I don't think you're paying $3.5 million for a backup guard. He's not starting for you. So that's a no-brainer. Ty Chandler is only a $1.1 million cap hit, but he fell completely out. He was third on your depth chart behind a guy who tore 2 Achilles in the last 3 years, and you can save $1.5 million. So I don't know. I just don't know if you're going to keep him around.
He's taking up a roster spot.
Yeah. So you've seen enough. Obviously, you don't feel good enough putting him even as your second running back. Right. They had to trade a pick to get a guy in to be a backup running back.
2 consecutive years.
Yeah, they don't trust him. So, we're going to go with two more guys exiting from the 2022 draft class.
Write that down.
Okay, back to Patrick. Third and final prediction.
All right, here's my last one. Write that down. J.J. McCarthy will have the best QBR by a Vikings quarterback over the course of the season in the last 10 seasons.
Okay. So QBR on a 0 to 100 scale.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So that would be, I'm trying to think of last 10 years. I mean, Darnold was like a 60 this year. Kirk has had a couple kind of didn't he have like a 65 or 66 in one of those years?
Gosh, I'm not sure the exact stats. I just have that much faith that he'll be better.
I was going to say, you're just coming out.
He doesn't care. He's like, I don't care what the history says. I think Sam Bradford had a gunslinging year. Yeah, dude, Sam Bradford had a 70.
Well, that doesn't count.
2 starts, yeah. I think, how about minimum? Can we say minimum like X amount of starts? Because Sam Bradford has 75 QBR in 2 starts.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Maybe about like an 8-game minimum. Is that fair?
That's fair. Yeah. You don't want the 2 games. Actually, it was like a game and then a quarter and a half of Sam Bradford biting you on that one. But Patrick, great stuff here. Great predictions from Dunedin, Florida. Is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that helped you get to this life-changing moment right now? And write that down.
Absolutely. I want to thank you guys for helping me get here. I swear I listen to you guys so much on like my daily bike rides that I just always think about it. And my wife finally was like, okay, why don't you just, why don't you call in? So I did. So thank you to her. And that's about it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you, man. Thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it. Patrick, we'll do it again sometime. Good luck with your predictions.
See you, Patrick.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy Dunedin, the city that Judd Solgad built.
And Skip's, great dog bar. It is a great dog bar. Jukebox, bar, and a swing. What more could you want in a bar?
I don't know. What else do you need in life? And Blue Jays spring training baseball.
I love my Jays. Yeah, the Jays are great. Jays are great.
You know what else is great? MSP Plumbing and Heating is great, too, before we get to our final predictions.
It's great because guess what? It's that time of year where perhaps you turn the furnace on, turn it up, and it goes, and it starts coughing. You're like, oh boy, am I in trouble? What am I going to do? Sports Dad to the rescue to tell you that you're going to call my friends at MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air, because for over a century now, families have relied on MSP for all their plumbing, drains, heating, and cooling needs. That's right. 100% family-owned and operated business. MSP committed to taking care of your family. Right now, here's the offer. Get $50 off any HVAC or plumbing repair. They could take care of all of those issues. 651-615-4292. Or check them out at their website. Call MSP.com. Call MSP.com. If that furnace starts to cough, do not despair. Know that the people at MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air are going to take care of your home.
Also, Minnesota Rusco is here to take care of your home in a different way. They're here to help you make your remodel a reality. Minnesota's hometown remodeler since 1955, Minnesota Rusco offers a multitude of home improvement products. So windows, doors, siding, bathrooms, kitchens. On the YouTube channel, you're seeing some of the before and afters here. And also decks, roofing, I should mention too. It's the 70th birthday of Minnesota Rusco in 2025. And so they're offering a 70% off all labor deal for you. No interest, no monthly payments until 2027. And a $70 gift card free with every appointment too. Just even going through some of the reviews from people that have use Minnesota Rusco for remodels from Diane. Diane says Minnesota Rusco is the best from start to finish. Every person I came in contact with at the company was very knowledgeable. They explained everything, reviewed all the details, made this an easy process. Thank you, Minnesota Rusco. MinnesotaRusco.com, serving Minnesotans since 1955.
Write this down.
Okay, final predictions here. And then I do have a mock draft for you guys, too. It's very much mock draft season. We'll get to the quarterback cesspool challenge finale next week on the show because we have a bye week here. So, Judd, what is your final prediction?
Write this down.
All right. More pushing predictions out. More all about next season because I have moved on. Joe Burrow will be the NFL MVP for 2026. Joe Burrow, who had a great season. Unbelievable. And if the Bengals had made the playoffs, I think there was a case to actually talk about him in the mix for the 2024. So yeah, I'm sorry, 2025, Dex. 2025. I misspoke. He will be the MVP. I guess
Judd's really pushing predictions.
I guess I meant he will be named it in 2026, but that is incorrect. Thank you very much. 2025 MVP.
Are you guys aware of the trophies metaphor that Nick Wright uses for quarterbacks? Like how we should measure quarterback success with trophies?
I don't know if I'm familiar.
So there's 4 trophies that you can win either as an individual or as a team. You can win regular season MVP. You can win your conference championship. You can win a Super Bowl, and you can win Super Bowl MVP. So those are 4 obtainable like quarterback awards and team trophies you can win. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow has one of those. He has a conference championship. Josh Allen has 0 of those. Doesn't have an MVP, and obviously hasn't been to a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson has 2 of those. He's won 2 MVPs. You want to know how many Patrick Mahomes has between those 4 things?
Oh, like 12?
13.
13, yeah.
13. So when we talk, and he's right, like when we talk about the core 4, there is no core 4. There's Patrick Mahomes, and there's the rest of the league. Even with those 3 dudes being consensusly like the 3 best quarterbacks behind Patrick Mahomes, the gap is still humongous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think like there are 4. It is fair to say there are 4 quarterbacks in the AFC that are Hall of Fame bound, that are better than most quarterbacks we've ever seen in our lives watching football. Like obviously, you would put in terms of just great high end quarterbacks. There's probably 8 or 10 guys over the last 30 years that you'd put in there. But yeah, to that point about who actually runs the league in the AFC. It's not like they're swapping trips to the Super Bowl or trading Super Bowl titles and stuff. It is when you put in like the fact that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen haven't even played in a Super Bowl yet is kind of crazy and a huge testament to Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid and company and the stronghold they have. It's a good time to be in the NFC right now where the landscape is wide open. There's a good chance that Jaden Daniels is now the number 1 quarterback in the NFC, and the list is kind of open from there.
Yes. This year was incredibly open, like the entire thing. Philly's good, but I mean, they certainly don't scare you like the Chiefs would.
You know what, though?
They're good.
I mean, I think some of that is like our fault watching football, that we like Nick Sirianni and the way that he's arguing with fans, and maybe we can talk about this on next week's Purple Daily NFL Takes episode, which you guys are responding well to. We appreciate you. We pumped that out yesterday, a new weekly NFL show here on the Purple Daily feed. But no team in NFL history has run for more yards regular season playoffs than this year's Eagles. Like they are literally running for 200 yards a game and have one of the greatest running backs and run blocking offensive lines in NFL history. And also, you could argue that even though they threw the ball fewer times than any other team in the league, that they have like a top 3 wide receiver duo in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They just don't get the targets that others do. And we said here, we're like, I guess the Eagles are kind of good. I don't know, man. The Eagles are one of the most dominant teams in recent NFL history. And we, as the football viewing media and public, kind of wonder about Nick Sirianni's demeanor and the fact that the receivers reading self-help books on the sidelines.
he's a jackass, but I mean, he clearly is a good coach. But my thing is you can take what the blueprint that the Eagles have used and copy it. You can't take the Chiefs.
I mean, yeah, like in terms
the
of
Mahomes thing
like
is
you can't find a Mahomes.
Correct.
Yeah, but I would argue you also can't set out to see, like, you can say we want to run the ball better, which is what we're doing following the Vikings.
Yep.
I don't know that you can say we're going to build literally the greatest or one of the greatest rushing offenses in NFL history, and that's our blueprint.
Yeah.
And the architect of that, the guy that we don't talk about enough, Howie Roseman, their GM. He's the architect. But what's frustrating again is if you had drafted offensive linemen interior correctly, you could say that. Like this gets back to where Ed Ingram can't be a miss. That's what's frustrating.
Yeah, but Ed Ingram being a hit doesn't mean that you have found the Eagles' blueprint. You know?
No, but you've taken
we're
a step
discrediting what the Eagles have done way too much. Everyone.
I don't really feel I am. I give him full credit. But I don't feel like I am.
You do not give them.
I do give him full credit.
You literally just discredited them 3 minutes ago.
No, I just said they're a team that you could actually beat. I don't think Kansas City, do I think the Vikings would have a snowball's chance in hell in a playoff game of beating KC? No, I don't.
Well, but every game against KC is a close game. The Eagles have actually shown something that KC hasn't shown this year, which is they can take a good team out behind the woodshed and put 55 points on them and make them look like idiots and win by 30. So I think your words a few minutes ago where the Eagles don't scare you or they don't they don't scare me. The Eagles should scare you in terms of their ability to just run the ball for 250 yards and you are helpless for 3 hours. More than the Chiefs in some way, but the Chiefs with the greatest quarterback of all time, the Chiefs in a close game are so precise and perfect, and they save plays. Like they'll withhold a play for 4 months and show it to you for the first time.
The thing in the game on Sunday, the Bills and Chiefs, and I told Dawn this. I said, not only are the Bills going to have to go down and score, but they're going to have to bleed the clock out completely.
What did Dawn say when you said that to her?
She's like, why are you talking to me about this? And I'm like, because I got to talk to somebody and Stella's sleeping. But like that was the thing. Like you could not give, like what the Bills were up against to me was so interesting because it was literally like, okay, you got to get the ball, you got to score, but you also can't give them any time.
The Chiefs are kind of like, if I could use a baseball, like the Chiefs are kind of like the crafty, they're not going to blow you away and strike you out 15 times. But they're going to be precise. They're going to get you behind in the count, and they're going to throw that perfect pitch. Yep.
They're Greg Maddox.
And the Eagles are like, we're literally going to throw this 105-mile-an-hour fastball right down the pipe and dare you to hit it. We are going to run basic offensive concepts, and we're going to have 340-pound Mekhi Becton pulling off the edge and try to get through it. Linebacker.
I love these discussions.
Purple Daily, NFL every single week on the Purple Daily.
I'm invigorated by this show.
Write this down.
Okay, Dex, your final prediction.
All right, last one for me. Write this down. Caitlin Clark will be in a Super Bowl commercial. Caitlin Clark will be in a Super Bowl commercial. Write it down.
Great call.
That makes some sense. Yep.
Great call.
Makes some sense.
Write this down.
Okay, write this down. This is kind of, I don't know if this is an actual prop, but I will say we will see at least, I gave you the short yardage touchdown thing for the conference championship. I'm going to give you the long range touchdown one here. There will be at least 2 touchdowns of 40 or more yards scored in the Super Bowl. 40 or more yards from scrimmage. So a 45-yard touchdown run by Barkley, a 50-yard pass by Mahomes. At least 2 40-plus yard touchdowns scored in the Super Bowl.
Write this down.
Quarterback cesspool challenge. We don't have to pop it up on the screen, but I'll give you guys an update. Declan has officially been eliminated. It was a great comeback effort by you after a slow start. All of the quarterbacks from last week performed at a 70 or above QBR. Mm-hmm. The worst quarterback was Josh Allen with like a 72 QBR. So they all performed at a pretty high level. But that leaves Judd. It's kind of a formality until we change the format for next year. Judd's been running away with the quarterback cesspool challenge. But it'll be Mackey versus Judd in a battle of trying to figure out if one of these quarterbacks will soil themselves in the Super Bowl. So we'll do that next week. But I have a mock draft for you, gentlemen.
I want a mock. Mock.
It's mock draft season. Presented by Park Dental, the new dentist for yours truly as of a few months back. My old dentist retired. Good 10-year run for me at the old dentist, but it left me looking for a new dentist, looking for a place to get those deep teeth cleanings. So I started creeping around the reviews of Park Dental and saw some great 5-star comments, people saying they would never see another dentist. The entire staff is amazing. I can say the same thing. After being there a couple times now for over 50 years, Park Dental has been caring for and cleaning teeth in Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. And they are here to help you as well. You can schedule your checkup at parkdental.com. Most likely, you're within, wherever you work or live in the Twin Cities, you're within a very close range of a Park Dental. So check them out, parkdental.com. We have here, boys, from NFL.com, a 1.0 from Bucky Brooks.
Bucky.
Noted NFL draft analyst.
Good stuff.
Old Bucky Brooks. Did we miss? No, we did the Daniel Jeremiah one. They got that one on here too. So let's see. They got Shedeur Sanders going number 1. Bucky does to the Titans. And then he has Cam Ward actually falling to the Giants at 3. He has Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State, going to the Browns at number 2. Interesting. Travis Hunter falling to the Patriots at 4. Let's scroll down here. Okay, he's got the Cowboys taking Ashton Jeanty, running back from Boise State. That makes some sense. Oh, no other quarterbacks. This is kind of the thing. It's like 2 quarterbacks, and then maybe Jalen. Is it Jalen Milroe, right?
Yep.
So that gets us to with the 24th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. According to Bucky Brooks, NFL.com, the Minnesota Vikings select out of Notre Dame. Wake up the echoes for cornerback Benjamin Morrison.
Second time?
Yeah, if Morrison's medicals check out is the first part of this. He had the hip. The well-sized cover corner will be a nice fit for a secondary that prioritizes tackling and toughness on the perimeter. But that hip injury, man, that kind of scares me too. You've been a little more alarmist about it, but
I hate hip injuries.
I hate hip injuries.
Because you gotta swivel the hip, you gotta rotate the hips, oily hips,
especially for corners.
And I don't know I don't know that we necessarily for athletes can really fix them. Like you can fix a knee. Knee gets torn up, we perfected it, right? The ACL,
Rebuild it.
the MCL, whatever. But I just worry about a young man with a hip problem. That just to me seems to be tempting fate. Because if it comes back, now you got real problems.
Also, not that like dwelling on past draft failures should play into your process for this year, because you should just be drafting in a vacuum. But does taking on more risk with a guy you already blew the 2022 draft, and you need some young guys to start jumping up here and filling some of these holes?
Yes.
Do you become a little more risk averse and avoid a guy with a hip injury because of what happened with everyone from the 2022 draft busting out? I feel like if you have a boatload of young talent, you're more likely to take a little bit of a risk on someone that you think could be a top 10 talent, but everyone's nervous about the hip. I don't know, but that's what Bucky Brooks has.
And no trades as well from Bucky?
No trades.
Okay, I'm out on Bucky.
Yeah, what's the reluctance to do? Just do trades.
Well, just have fun. Like it's called a mock draft.
And also, like, what sanctity are you preserving?
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone's wrong on. You might nail the first couple, but like everyone's wrong on 80% of their mock drafts, anyways. So you might as well throw a couple trades in to make the exercise more realistic.
Well, and at least throw in up high for a quarterback, right? Like if there's 2 here, there's going to be a lot of pursuit. So yeah,
if Cleveland decides at number 2 that they aren't drafting a quarterback, they're getting a boatload of picks from someone to move because there's going to be competition. So
yes,
come on, Bucky.
I like Bucky. Don't get me wrong. I've met him. Fine fellow, but make a trade.
Let's make a trade. So, all right, boys, there's the Write That Down predictions, the accountability session, a little mockage for you here on a Wednesday. If you haven't caught up on this week's episodes, the Monday offseason blueprint, I think it was like a 70-minute episode. We did a deep dive into the Vikings offensive line and how and why they should be fixing it and comparing it to other teams. And then the first ever episode of Purple Daily NFL Takes, a new weekly show here on this feed.
It's a hit show.
It's a hit.
I hear it's the hit. I hear it's the number 1 Purple Daily hit show right now. The critics are calling it fantastic.
I might be already working on a QB tiers list for NFL Takes next Tuesday.
Okay.
For our I know we're rankings.
Are you going to be naming all the different tiers too?
Yes, and I'm naming the tiers how I want to name them.
Yep.
I love it.
So this won't be like just tier 1, 2, 3, 4. No. There's going to
you got to name the tiers.
You know,
the names of the tiers are why I show up for quarterback rankings.
One of them, here's a spoiler. Here's one. Branch managers. That's one of them.
I think managers.
The Michael Scott edition of the quarterback team.
I love that. And
is he a regional manager or is he just okay?
He's a regional manager.
Do you have assistants to the branch manager quarterbacks too?
That should be the next tier.
I think with what we saw from the Vikings final game against Detroit and then the playoff game, I'd like a chokers tier too.
Wow.
Quarterbacks who you trust and then they choke.
Okay, so Sam Darnold is who you're putting in that tier.
Yep.
Justin Herbert.
Oh,
but I mean that's not
the hard
unfair.
part too is like you've got your tiers that you're naming, which are kind of bins, and they don't always align with exactly the 1 through 32. This would be a fun exercise.
Correct.
So, all right, so be on the lookout for that next week. NFL Takes. And then the OG edition of Write That Down too on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd. Hey, we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die around here. Come on.